People talk about hyaluronic acid like it's boring, basic, and pointless. And I completely disagree. Hey, it's ECAT. Think electronic cat? Yeah, welcome to my edit by ECAT. After months of using all of these, I think the beauty of hyaluronic acid is not finding one perfect serum. It's about discovering how different formulas feel, layer, and hydrate. If you haven't watched it yet, feel free to check out the video with my first impressions, where I try all of the hyaluronic acid serums that I'm going to be talking about today for the first time. I'll link it up in the card and also in the description box below. Let's jump into the products. I'm going to start with the one that I changed my mind on. If you would look at my first impressions, I wasn't really sure about this serum. But as I figured out how to use it properly in my skincare routine, I fell in love. What can I say? And of course, it's WELLAGE Real Hyaluronic Blue Ampoule 100. Yes, this is a large bottle which I got from Olive Young. It has 100 mils, hence why I'm halfway through. It would have been a tall ask for me to finish all 100 mils of this ampoule. So let's talk about it. It looks super watery. In fact, I was deceived. I assumed it's going to be this super lightweight watery ampoule that's going to immediately disappear. But what I got instead is an ampoule that left this glossy, hydrated layer behind. And I wasn't really sure how to use it. I guess my immediate thought was I apply it first and then I layer the rest of my skincare routine. Until I think I posted a short and somebody commented that I should prep my skin before using this, which seems obvious, but somehow my brain didn't go there. I just assumed it is watery, hence it should go on first. But you really need your skin to be amply hydrated. And what it does, it amplifies this hydration. That's the best way to describe it. So it is great as a middle layer of your routine. You prepping your skin with toner, maybe some other hydrators, and then putting this on. And then it goes on beautifully. It does have a bit of a slip. I find it nice to use with tools like Medicube HR Booster Pro. Because of the slip, you can kind of work or massage the serum further. Sometimes it feels like the rest of your layers just don't penetrate as much because it has such a big presence. So you know it's there. It doesn't disappear. It stays, it hydrates, it feels nice. So I wouldn't say I use it all the time. There are some days or weeks, in fact, where I was reaching for this and I was thinking to myself, this is exactly what I need right now. This is perfect. It just gives me this hydration that I'm craving, but it needs to slot in with the rest of my skincare routine. Other times, I didn't reach for it because that meant that I had to almost sandwich it. Does that make sense? I would have to hydrate my skin, then put this on, and then pile on some other stuff afterwards. I guess there are situations and skin moods that I would be craving this, and other times I would completely avoid it. So I love it, but not all the time. I'm okay to come for a visit sometimes, but it's definitely not the permanent fixture or layer in my routine. I think it is a unique product. Out of all the hyaluronic acid serums that I'm going to talk about today, this one stands out. The closest texture that I can think of that reminds me of this is the Anua Hyaluronic PDRN serum. I think it has that watery texture as well and a bit of a slip afterwards. So they feel quite unique to anything that I've tried before. The one that has the texture that I expected from WELLAGE is a different ampoule. It delivers this watery texture, but it doesn't leave anything behind and sinks in super fast. I can layer it and layer it to my heart's content. And it's the Round Lab Birch Juice Ampoule. Now this is super watery. Definitely one of those textures that just slides off your face if you don't catch it. So the best way to apply it is either put it in the palms of your hands or really hold your hand really, really close to your face and catch whatever is coming down from the dropper. It is this invisible layer in your routine. It just gives you the extra hydration, but it doesn't leave any memory behind. It really sinks in super fast and disappears. I can add 1 or 2 or 3 layers and it doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel like it's the most amazing hydration in the world, but it serves its purpose. If your skin is parched and you're really, really thirsty and the toner just doesn't deliver and you feel like applying several serum layers is going to be quite heavy, this is the perfect solution. I can add all the hydration that I want without it weighing me down or creating any heaviness. It's not really your traditional hydrator. I can hear a lot of people arguing that it does the same job as a toner, but I love it just for what it is. And I know some of you asked, so here it goes. I have dehydrated, acne-prone combination skin that is becoming drier with age. The next hyaluronic acid looks so simple that I automatically reached for it after doing microneedling at home. I think the label was playing a trick on me. And it's the SCINIC Hyaluronic Acid Ampoule Serum. Now, it almost looks clinical, doesn't it? Nothing but a white label, some simple wording, and I immediately gravitated towards it when my barrier was severely compromised. Somehow, just looking at that label, I was like, this is going to do the trick. This is going to be the simplest of them all, and it's going to do me good. You know, it's that reflex of reaching for CeraVe because it looks pharmaceutical. This is your standard hyaluronic acid serum. It's quite light and it really hits your skin and disappears quite fast. It doesn't linger, but it also doesn't give you that immediate sense of satisfying your thirst. It's a good serum that is nice to layer in your routine. You can't really go wrong with it, but it doesn't really stand out from the crowd. I think its good points are that it's so simple, that it looks simple, the packaging is simple, the formulation is quite simple. It's one of those that you kind of look at it and you go, yeah, I trust it. I really trust it, that it's going to do me good. Now, if my barrier is not damaged, I probably wouldn't even glance at it. Isn't that funny? The next serum looks super fun. In fact, it looks like it's going to be extremely hydrating, that it's going to satisfy my thirst. It's the NINELESS Hydra-Max Deep Infusion Serum. Yes, even the name sounds like it's going to do me wonders. But what I'm talking about is the color. The color. It has this vivid blue color. You immediately gravitate towards it because it just looks thirst quenching, doesn't it? The feel of the serum and the texture is on par with the SCINIC. In fact, they feel quite similar to me in terms of the texture and the feel and the hydration. But this one stands out purely because of the color. It's so much fun to use. You apply it and you're like, yep, this looks like a hyaluronic acid serum. This looks like a serum that's just gonna give me that drink of water. It's again a trick of the mind. If I looked at SCINIC and I thought it was the safe, comforting solution, where this one, the only way to describe it is you going into the shop and you're looking for a drink and you're super thirsty. And this is the type of drink that you will gravitate towards because it looks like it's gonna solve all your needs, right? I will quite happily buy it, especially if I find it on sale. Would I say that the serum was wow? No, not really. Apart from being fun to use and being quite affordable, there's not really much to say, unfortunately. Before we get into the next product, if you're enjoying it so far, then hit subscribe. I was just thinking they can't all be interesting and simple. The next one, I really don't have much to say about, except I've seen so many people talk about it online and recommend it. And because of it, my expectations were high and the product just couldn't deliver, unfortunately. And I'm talking about the JUMISO Waterfull Hyaluronic Acid Serum. First things first, it's a glass bottle. I have an issue with glass bottles. We don't really need them. It's so easy to drop them and just smash them on the floor. That alone makes me reach for the serum less. Secondly, the texture is perfect. The texture is something that I would gravitate towards regardless of the serum. It is this perfect middle ground between a serum and an ampoule. It's like water with a bit of a body to it. It looks like it's going to be extremely hydrating on your skin. It looks lightweight and just like a drink of water. It really does. And I know I kept saying that about a lot of serums, but this is probably the texture between the WELLAGE and Round Lab and the rest of the serums. It's kind of like sits perfectly in the middle, but it just didn't feel hydrating to me at all. It was like I was putting this on, but it was doing nothing. It sounds very strange, but it's like I was drinking, but I was still thirsty. It wasn't really adding anything as a layer or as a hydrator to my routine. I'm sure it gives me some hydration, but it just didn't feel that way to me. But the texture is everything. Now, I don't know whether my brain was tricking me because I read that this has less hyaluronic acid than any of the other serums in the lineup today. So it could have been that, but also if I just go by the feel, you know, when you reach for a product and you're like, yep, it just makes me feel a certain way, therefore I'm just going to keep applying it. This one did none of it. It was, what's the word I'm looking for? It felt empty to me. It had all the promising signals, but just didn't deliver the one thing it's supposed to do, and that's the hydration. I know it sounds strange, but it's a bit of a letdown. So I'm gonna finish this, and this is definitely not going to be a serum that I would repurchase ever. We met, got to know each other, and decided that there is no future together. The next serum I love because of the packaging. Need I say more? I wish all the serums, or let's just say all the hyaluronic acid serums, came in this packaging. It's just so easy to use and reach for me. I'm talking about the Lab by BLANC Oligo Hyaluronic Acid Hydro Serum. How beautiful is this? The pump is everything. I think if you've used the COSRX peptide booster serum, then you would know what I mean. That watery texture in a pump is just so convenient to use because you don't have to faff about with a dropper or anything like that. Now, the serum is nice, an interesting texture. It's similar to the JUMISO, but not quite. In a sense that it's light, but it feels a little bit more like a watery serum, but with a body to it. Also, it leaves this hydrated layer behind with a generous slip. I found it quite interesting because I can definitely use a tool like Medicube HR Booster Pro with just one layer of this, and the tool will continue to glide over my skin with enough slip. So there is that kind of heaviness to it despite the texture being quite light. Would I say that it's extremely hydrating? Probably not. It kind of sits in the same category as the SCINIC and the NINELESS one for me. It is a nice hydrating middle layer. Apart from the packaging, there's not really much that stands out. So if you're applying other serums afterwards or layering stuff on, you have to be careful because it just feels like it doesn't let any other serum penetrate if you applying them after this one. Nonetheless, it's easy to reach for. As I said, it's one of those serums that becomes almost automatic because you don't have to unscrew the dropper. You just pop the lid and apply a few pumps directly onto your face and then massage it in. It just feels wonderful. It really does. And it might be a serum that I would repurchase just for the packaging. Speaking of the packaging, I've never experienced such an elegant dropper bottle before. Just the attention to detail is amazing. I will remember this one over many dropper bottles that I am going to see in my life. And that said something. It's by BIOHEAL Hyalcell Hydro Serum. This is an amazing serum. It feels super hydrating to me. It was such a pleasure to apply. It just meets all of my criteria. It gives me that instant sense of hydration. The texture is divine. It's this super light hydrating liquid. You can apply several layers of it. It was just perfection. I would say it's up there with my most favorite hyaluronic acid serums, which we're going to talk about towards the end of the video. This is really good. It's one of those serums that is just well balanced. It gives me the hydration that I expect, but it also delivers on the experience. And aside from texture, is the design of the dropper. So first things first, you have this top of the dropper. I don't know, what is the name for the thingy? So the top of the dropper has this kind of wide design that when you squeeze it, you can properly squeeze it. You feel that it has enough air to grab the serum, so to draw the serum into the dropper. You don't have to struggle. There's just something about it that you have to do it once and that's it. I haven't seen that many droppers that do that. It is so effortless that you actually forget about it. The second thing is the actual dropper. So it has this angled tip and it's such a small thing that you might think, so what? Well, you don't have to bring it close to your face. Because of the angle, it directs the serum onto your face. That's it. No more dragging the dropper close to the skin. It just does it for you. It's such a small and to some people unimportant detail, but I love it. I love it. I've never had a dropper being so enjoyable. Never once did I get frustrated with using this. This is how good it was. And put it together with the actual serum, I was like, wow, this is the life. This is how it should be. This is why I love trying skincare. So yes, I'm in love with the dropper design and the serum. This is definitely a serum I'm planning to come back to for the hydration and for the experience. The next serum is the last serum from our original lineup. Now, before I reveal it, make sure to subscribe. Okay, here's a dilemma. What I'm holding here is a fresh bottle. Now, did I finish it because I loved it so much, or did I finish it because it's only 30 mils? All of the other serums that we've talked about are 50 or 100 for the WELLAGE. This one was a small bottle, but I still think I finished it first because to me, it was the best from the whole lineup. And I'm talking about the Vichy Hyaluronic Cica Exosome Ampoule. Now, this was just perfection. I can't put my finger on it. I have no idea what it was exactly that made me love it so much. But as soon as I've tried it, I just kept reaching for it. I just couldn't stop. I finished it super fast. In fact, I finished it so long ago. You'll see it in my next empties for sure. This has the feel, the hydration, the texture, everything just came together and gave me this perfect thing that I absolutely fell in love with. My skin just craved layer after layer after layer. It was one of those that I just automatically reached for. Whether I was doing my morning or evening skincare routine, I would apply 1, 2, 3 layers. It just felt so good. It just satisfied my thirst. I just wanted to have more of this. The texture was lightweight and it just gave me that immediate sense of relief, this soothing and calming effect that I was just happy to use this and nothing else. I would use it on my broken barrier or my healthy barrier. It was just such a versatile product. And I am peeved that it only comes in 30 mils. I wish they had a bigger size. I really do. I would love to buy a ginormous bottle of this just so I can have it on hand all the time. I am a huge fan of Vichy ampoules. Any of the ones that I've tried so far, I love, and this is no exception. And to be honest, it was probably the last ampoule that I thought I would love. Because to me, and I said that in the beginning, to me, it felt like there's not much to gain from another hyaluronic acid product. Because I thought it might have a slight difference in texture to the rest of the products, but it really stood out to me and I can't put my finger on it. It was just all the stars aligned and gave me this perfect combination. This is a repurchase and there is more coming. This is not the end. I will also share with you my absolute favorites. These are the serums that I've already stocked up on and keep coming back to again and again. They are my go-to hyaluronic acid serums. So whenever I try new ones, I somewhat will be comparing everything to these ones. So the first one is the one, the only, the famous Torriden Dive-In Hyaluronic Acid Serum. This is the serum that started it all. This is the serum that showed me that hyaluronic acid is not really that boring or basic or pointless. It does everything. It is calming and soothing and hydrating, feels nice. You can apply several layers. Doesn't feel foamy or sticky. It's just elegant, fun to use, and a pleasure to apply. And yes, once I tried this, I understood what the hype was all about, why this is so popular. And especially for my dehydrated skin, this is such a good product. So I started using it mainly after microneedling at home. I wanted something basic. And in fact, the more I used it, the more I fell in love with it. I just kept reaching for it again and again. And as soon as I finished one, I was like, do you know what? I kind of feel uncomfortable that I don't have a backup. Also, because of this serum, I have tried the next one. People were saying that they're quite similar in feel and in texture. It's the Isntree Ultra Low Molecular Hyaluronic Acid Serum. They even look similar. They have this light blue color that just makes you think that they're going to be super hydrating. They kind of have the same feel in terms of giving me that hydration, the texture, the experience. So I ended up using them interchangeably. They're not your typical serum texture. They're a little bit lightweight and ample with a bit of a body to it type of thing. So easy to layer. You can have several layers of this and it wouldn't feel heavy. I don't mind whether it's one or the other at this stage, and I just need to have one of these on hand most of the time. If I were to recommend any serums to anyone who's looking to explore hyaluronic acid serums, these are the ones that I would recommend the most, because these are the ones that I repurchase and use the most and I trust the most. So not to say that the others are not good. I have years and months under my belt of using these two, and I still love them, still use them, still think they're the best. There are contenders from the lineup today, so they're going to be joining the family, I reckon. I also wanted to talk about a budget version, and it's not a serum, but I think it's such good value for money, and the experience is very similar to a lot of serums that we talked about today. And it's the Torriden Dive-In Hyaluronic Acid Skin Booster. Now, this is a hybrid, I guess. It's not a toner, but it's not a serum. It kind of has this smoothie texture. It's like a sip of a smoothie, and it is very satisfying. It's quite lightweight, but the hydration that it gives you is on par with a lot of serums on the market. But you get so much more in size for your money. This is a 200 milliliter bottle. This is just such a handy item to have. You can layer several layers of this. It is satisfying, hydrating, and the texture is quite nice. It's like a milky toner that everyone talks about, but the hyaluronic acid version. So it has that extra hydration and nourishment. I can sing it praises all day long. This is something worth looking into. To wrap things up, one of you asked whether any of these serums compare to your favorite, and that is the Vichy Minéral 89. I haven't used this serum in forever. I had to repurchase it in order to remind me of what it feels like. So I have a 50 ml bottle here, and my thoughts so far, it is quite unique in terms of texture. Actually, what I found is the texture was quite thick, and you needed to apply the serum on top of prepped skin, because if you apply it on a dry skin, it felt a little bit heavy, while if you applied it on prepped skin, it would just turn into water and give you that immediate sense of hydration. In terms of texture, what it reminded me of, this juicy hydrating grape jelly product that I've talked about recently, the Jin Jung Sung Soothing Moisture Skin Essence. It is an essence product, so you do get a 150 ml bottle. If you're after similar texture, I would suggest to look at that one. But if you're looking for something similar in terms of the hydration feel, I would probably recommend to go with my 2 favorite serums. I am confident that these are one of the top hydrating serums from K-Beauty. These can pull their weight in terms of hydration. In terms of mineral properties, that is obviously something unique to Vichy, and you won't find it anywhere else. So only you can decide what it does for your skin, what you actually love about it, and whether it's worth swapping it with anything else. So a bit of an impromptu comparison. I think that's it for the lineup today. I would love to hear from you and whether you think that hyaluronic acid is boring, basic, and pointless. I really enjoyed discovering these new serums, living with them, and sharing my honest thoughts. I'm kind of thinking we need a part 2. I am kind of collecting the next lineup. There are just so many hyaluronic acid serums to explore, and I want to try them all. If you love skincare that feels fun, with lots of steps and 0 regrets, then hit subscribe and come back and hang out with me again. But don't go just yet. If you still got some time, I hope you stay and watch this next video. I'll see you again soon.